I think it's the currency of trust, and that used to live only with a business. Only businesses could be trusted, or people in your local community. Now that trust has been democratized. Any person can act like a brand. Airbnb is a way that you can, when you're traveling, book a home anywhere around the world. And by anywhere, 34,000 cities in 190 countries. That's every country but North Korea, Iran, Syria, and Cuba. The reason we started was I was living with my roommate Joe in San Francisco, and I couldn't afford to make rent. That weekend, International Design Conference was coming to San Francisco. All the hotels were sold out. Joe had 3 airbeds. We pulled the airbeds out of the closet. We inflated it. And we called it the Airbed and Breakfast. And the reason it's grown so fast is, unlike traditional businesses, we don't have to pour concrete. The infrastructure and the investment was already made by cities a generation ago. And so all of a sudden, all you needed was the internet. I never really loved the word disruption because it suggests that maybe it's the kid in class who was disruptive, like probably didn't add a lot to class. I think that we have a lot to add to society. I think over time, cities have gotten so big that the sense of community has gotten lost. And I think once you know everyone, that community can reemerge. And I think as far as our relationship with cities, what's really happening, I think is really cool, is we can't succeed without a city, or we can't really thrive without a city. We don't want to thrive in spite of a city. And I think if we work together, it's going to be amazing. Everyone, I think the people win. And I think if we don't work together, or if we fight, the loser isn't really us or the city, it's the people in that city. I think that fundamentally, the idea of sharing economy is going to be great for cities. It means that people all over the city in 60 seconds become a micro-entrepreneur, and they can be empowered, and they can make an income. Now, this is amazing, I think, but what it also is complicated, because there were laws that were written many decades ago, sometimes a century ago, that said there are laws for people and there are laws for business. What happens when a person becomes a business? Suddenly, these laws feel a little bit outdated. They're really 20th century laws, and we're in a 21st century economy. It's probably going to be a fair amount of work to revise some of the laws and rethink the way cities and platforms work together, but I think that work is worth it. Because what cities don't have to do is invest billions of dollars in infrastructure to create jobs. These jobs are just they only require the internet access. That's an amazing opportunity for them. So whereas historically, to create opportunities, cities would need massive projects and investments. Now what they mainly need to do is navigate the legal framework, which is typically outdated. And we want to work with the cities. We're not telling them that their laws are terrible. The world continues to change. Laws must continue to adapt for that world. We want to help them understand what our world looks like so they can modernize the laws to make sense. We're not against regulation. We want to be regulated, because to regulate us would be to recognize us. We want travelers to be able to book homes anywhere. Anywhere includes Asia. Asia is a nascent market for us. Number 2, we're also looking at other use cases. So right now, Airbnb is primarily, or it started as a way for travelers to find a budget way to vacation in the city. But now we're starting to see people that aren't on a budget. They want a much more high-end experience. And the third is that I think at the end of the day, if you're traveling to Tokyo, you're not traveling to Tokyo to stay in a home or to stay in a hotel. You're traveling to Tokyo if you're on vacation because you want to have an experience. And we'd love to do more to make that experience special and memorable. Typically, I don't think people would view the jobs people in the sharing economy creating are as jobs. I don't even know if we get counted as jobs when the White House has a new jobs report. It's unclear if they even count these as jobs. They are jobs. As far as I can tell, if people are working, they're making income, they depend on that income, and half of our hosts depend on it to pay the rent or mortgage. This is a job. Maybe it's a new kind of job. Maybe it's like a 21st century job. Tom Friedman talks about in the future people may have jobs, they'll have income streams. I believe that the sharing economy broadly can probably provide tens of millions of jobs or income streams for people all over the world. This is going to have a pretty big effect on the economy, and I think mostly a good one. The sharing economy started by democratizing and creating access to probably 2 of the biggest assets people have, their homes and then their cars. I think the biggest revolution, though, it will be in the biggest asset of all, The biggest asset is not a house, it's not a car, it's people's time. People's times may start with just gigs, waiting in line for you, delivering something for you. Over time, I think it's going to move up market. And eventually, kind of like menial tasks becomes real trades, and real trades become art forms. Somebody may say, I cook a great brunch. I wonder if people would enjoy having brunch at my house. And you can be able to book a brunch at someone's house instead of at a restaurant. That person isn't trying to create a restaurant, they're just allowing somebody to have brunch. They build a reputation. One day that person can be a Michelin-rated chef in their house.